Hi, this is Mike from Kraftyhands. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to make this 6x6 fabulous all-occasion card that you can send to anybody. It won't fail but to raise a smile on anybody's face if they get this card. Okay, we call this one Too Old to Give a Damn. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on it. As I say, it's a standard 6x6, so we're starting off with a standard 6x6 base card. On the kit you do get two different coloured backing panels. You get a pink one, but you also get a green one too. Now I've utilised the green one for the inside of this card and I'm going to use the pink for the outer. So let's go ahead and get started and sticking that down. So I'm going to add some tape runner on the back. I'm using tape runner for speed and ease for the purposes of these video demonstrations. You can use wet glue or two-sided tape, double-sided tape for more permanence. Okay, so that's down. As I say, we've already put the inside panel in on that one. Okay, so the next step is to add on your library card topper, so which I've cut out. I'm going to stick this one down flat. I've already added a little bit of tape on tomorrow because we're going to build in some more dimension with the other toppers later. So I'm going to stick that down in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, that's breaking out from the backing paper, which I think adds more depth and more dimension. Even though it's flat, it still looks more 3D. Okay, so before we go any further, I'm also going to now stick on my fishtail banner ribbon strip up here. Now I'm going to line this up with the top of the card, like so. Okay, and that's where I'm going to place my buttons later. So those are the buttons that will go on later. Okay, so that's down. Right, so the next step is to add on your dictionary piece, so your text script piece. Now for this one, I haven't done it on this, but I'm going to do it on this one. I'm actually going to just distress the edges on this one by using a finger dauber, just to give it that little bit more dimension. Now it's not a strong colour, I'm only using a brown colour, which you could use a distressing like tea dye or vintage photo, just to give it a little bit more depth. As you can tell, I've already put the foam pads on the back of this, so it's sticking to my fingers as I'm doing it, but I can live with that. So all the way around. As you can see, it just gives it that little bit more depth and dimension. You could, if you wanted to, scruff the edges up, really make it look tatty by using the edge of a pair of scissors or a scruffer if you've got one. Or if you don't know what a scruffer is, I will quickly show you. It's something that looks like that, and that's designed to run down the edges of your piece of paper, and it distresses the edges to make it look torn and tattered. But I'm not going to do that on this one. I think the ink is enough. So I'm now going to place that, making sure I've got it the right way up, at an angle, again breaking out but not going over the edge. So that's now going to go there. Happy with that? Okay, so that's already started to build up a little depth and dimension. Now the topper itself, which is just fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I love this one to bits. I'm going to place that, I've already put the foam pads on the back, and I'm going to put that at straight with the backing paper. Because we'll put that on an angle, this I think can afford to go on straight, like so. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Now we've got that done, I'm going to take my other like ribbon strip, which is kind of looks a little bit like washi tape, but but isn't. So I'm going to put that across the bottom there. Now I am going to use a tape runner on this one because I want it to wrap down over the edge. And make sure I've got it right on the end there. Plenty on. And plenty on that side. Okay, don't worry about the end over here because it will be hidden by the sentiment, but I want to mirror that right up to the card edge like I have done with this bit here. I'm going to gently push it down and then follow it along with the contours. There we go, right the way across. That's great. Okay, so the next step then is to add the sentiment, which is two altogether down, which is just perfect. So again, I'm going to put that on foam pads. So just put smaller ones on. It only needs a couple. And put that so it overlaps that slightly. Now just looking at that, because I've distressed the edges around there, I'm just wondering whether or not to distress the edge on that too, which I think I will. I'll just give it a little bit of a dusting. Now what that also does, if you're not all that good at cutting out irregular shapes, then just going around the edges lightly with one of these finger daubers just hides any imperfections in the cutting out, because it colours any little bits that you may have left behind if you hadn't quite got into all the nooks and crannies. And it just evens it all out and makes it look just that little bit more finished. There we go. So if you're wondering where to get those from, they are from Sukaniko, Sponge Dauber. We normally carry these on our website, so it might be an idea if you want some to have a look. It's a stock item we always carry. Right, so I'm happy with that now, so I'm going to put that on there, just overlap the corner, hiding the edge of the ribbon, and just push down. Perfect. Okay, so the final thing now is just to add the buttons, which are the ones that go down the left hand side here. Now, just to show you, I've actually done two versions of this one. I've used the larger buttons on this one and I've used the smaller buttons on this one. I'm going to use the larger buttons this time for this card, but that was just to show you what they look like with the smaller ones. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So again, I've taken the larger buttons. These are 5/8 of an inch, so there is the punch that you can purchase from leading high street craft stores, and again I've just quickly gone around the edges just to hide any imperfections, but that's been punched out. The smaller one, the smaller buttons, again there is a punch that fits that. It's a 3/8 circle punch, again from the same places you can get those, so there's no fiddly cutting out if you don't want it. But again, just in case, I've gone around the edges with my finger dauber just to distress, just cover up any slight imperfections. So I'm going to add these then to my card with foam pads, just to give them that little bit of extra dimension. So number one, I'll place that in the middle. Now I always place my embellishments in threes. If I am putting them in threes, I always put the middle one in first, because then makes it easier to space out and get them even when you place them on your project. There we go, and the final one, I'm being careful not to make sure all the holes are all lined up. So if I'm happy with the placement of that, if it's equal, just want to dropping down a little bit. Yeah, that's about right, and then just push. Marvellous. Doesn't that look just so cute? And of course you've done the inside of your card already. So if you wanted to, you could add the smaller buttons, or just maybe one of the smaller buttons on the inside there. Again, if you want to, you can go ahead and add glossy accents or crackle glaze or whatever it is over the buttons, or you could do it over the whole of the topper if you wanted to give it that enamelled sheen. You can add glitter, you could add a little bit of bow if you want to, a little bit of real ribbon, but I don't really think it needs it because I think it looks great on its own. So there you go, that's Too Old to Give a Damn. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you'll join us for the next one. Thanks for watching.